Earth Faith here, and this is a segment on the protests in Iran, which I would say have now reached a critical mass. The first couple of weeks of these protests, which began approximately September 16th, uh, uh, based on the death of Masa Arani on September 14th. She was an Iranian woman who was apprehended by the guidance police for improper wearing of the hijab or the head garment. And yes, I would say it's reached a critical mass where this is a real revolutionary challenge to the government of Iran. I have a few important points to make, and then we'll see how this protest movement proceeds. First of all, this is different than other Iranian protest movements. It seems to be more democratic, although it may have originated in Kurdistan, part of Iran, and this is Kurdistan is divided among four countries. It's of course the Kurdish people. They are in Iraq, they are in Iran, they are in Turkey, and I believe the fourth country might be Jordan. And if you put those four pieces together, you would have a country called Kurdistan. But unfortunately, for them, their territory is divided among those four countries, and it's not an accident because basically a lot of the oil pipelines of the Middle East run through Kurdistan. The Kurdish people are like the guardians of the oil pipelines, and they so that's why the four countries have those divided parts of Kurdistan where those four sets of oil pipelines might intersect. Now, so the Kurdish people are a little separate from other people of the region. Iranian, of course, are historically Zoroastrian and a slightly Persian, different ethnic group than the Arabs or the Kurds. We do believe that this protest movement has taken on critical mass and spread outside this small group initially. They say it's a women's protest movement. That is very important because the prior American-led government of Iran, by the Shah of Iran, who was deposed in the 1970s, and he fled to the United States for safety, for his safety. And it was the 1979 revolution where those American hostages were taken, and that began the conflict between the United States and Iran, which were previously an ally. Unfortunately, the Shah was a very wealthy figure, and it was like a monarchy in Iran. As a result, there were abuses of women. So this is a little bit better in that sense because this movement is led initially by women because of the loss of life of the young lady in the hospital due to improper wear of hijab. Now, the interesting thing about the hijab, which I think is not going to be the deciding factor, this is just mischief, at work, but, being American, why should I care if there's mischief in Iran? Basically is the attitude, because hijab is it is a Muslim headscarf, but it's also typical to the region. You're talking about the desert areas, and they need this scarf between the sun and the sand. I think it's just a regional garment, partly, and that it would not be discarded easily because it's a practical piece of clothing for the desert environment and for the sun that they get there to block the sunshine and to block the sand. I assume that is just a practical garment, and no matter how many protests, is not going to get rid of that in the Middle East region, and certainly not Iran. Even a revolutionary movement against the theocratic rule will not cause people to suddenly wear Western clothing. However, I would say that this is a legitimate revolutionary movement in Iran. Where it is going to end up, we don't know, but it is a legitimate threat to the theocratic rule that's been in place since 1979. Earth Faith here, signing off.